Welcome back. Again, my name is Dr. Ivy Branin. I'm Naturopathic Doctor, and I'm really just loving this series. And we're following up on our last episode on getting pregnant in your 40s. And of course, if you're wanting to find out more information on getting pregnant or any other topic specifically regarding women's health and hormones, even in menopause or fibroids, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And of course, if you like this video or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to like it or put a comment in the chat. And so we are continuing with our series on pregnancy in your 40s. And if you checked out our last video, then you know, besides the fact that I work with a lot of women in their 40s trying to get pregnant, I myself became my own patient, as it will. So my whole fertility journey didn't start until my 40s, and partly it was because I kind of wanted the full package. Of course, everybody has their own journey to motherhood or starting a family, but I wanted to meet my person. It just took me a long time to meet my person. I didn't meet my person, my husband, until I was 41 years old. And then we just recently got married back at the end of June of 2022. And I'm happy to say that actually within about a month and a half, we were able to conceive, and now I'm officially 33 weeks pregnant, which is amazing and a miracle. But I want to share some of my tips that I did to achieve our pregnancy naturally. So what are some of the components of my plan? So first off, I definitely recommend, if you are considering getting pregnant and you are in your 40s, even if you're not in your 40s, definitely starting earlier is better. So I actually started this program that I put myself on 6 months before we even attempted to get pregnant. So what were some of the components of my 6-month plan? And one of the key things to think about, specifically as we're aging, we really want to think about egg quality. So all these recommendations that I did for myself really had a great focus on enhancing egg quality. So firstly, I eliminated alcohol. I know that sounds crazy, specifically because I was getting married. And of course, we all associate weddings with drinking and everything. But actually, to be honest, I was so busy with chatting with people and dancing and enjoying, I didn't even realize about the alcohol. So one, eliminated alcohol. Definitely can be a big game changer for a lot of women. And there's a lot of studies just across the board about how really reducing or even ideally eliminating alcohol can really improve fertility outcomes. So that was the first piece. The second piece was really reducing plastic use, specifically plastic use that comes in contact with food, specifically hot food or oily food, because the components of plastic can leach into our bodies and have a negative impact on not just egg quality but also hormones. When I was a grad student in Seattle, I was definitely much more of the mason jar, carrying everything in glass. Got to the city, got a little bit lazy. Not just lazy, but it's a schlep carrying all that glassware. But I took a major deep dive. In fact, actually, I just felt that this was a really important change for my family in general. So converting over to glass, converting over to metal. I did also invest in some compostable products, mostly for my husband, who doesn't really value cleaning dishes so much, but that was a big change. The other kind of source of plastics that can often happen, besides, I also see this a lot in my practice, one, overuse of plastic water bottles that, we get the Evian, we get the Poland Spring, we don't think anything of it. So one, definitely reducing that. Also with seltzers, and there's so many great brands that are in glass. But the other big source is if you do a lot of takeout, for example, a lot of restaurants use a lot of plastic. And then lastly, I mean, these were not so much particular to me because I didn't really use these to begin with, but definitely like, you know, really being mindful of BPA lined cans and also phthalates, parabens. I'm kind of more of a plain Jane type of person, so I don't really use a lot of cosmetics, and the ones that I only use mineral based, so that wasn't so much of a big factor. And then also dioxin, which again wasn't necessarily a big factor for me, but is found in bleach, and that can also be an endocrine disruptor. So it's just being a lot more mindful of that. So that was those were the two big things. Then also just stepped up my supplement regime, focusing on fertility and egg quality. So firstly, a really great multivitamin. I can tell you exactly the one I used because I love it. It's by Metabolic Maintenance. Their Fem1. Why do I love it? It has methylated folate at a high amount, and if you're supplementing with folate once you're pregnant, sorry, but that's a little bit too late, but that's something that really should be started even prior to pregnancy. And actually the first trimester is one of the most, or it is probably the most important trimester of pregnancy, because that's where everything develops and everything requires folate. So methylated folate, really great source of iodine, selenium, zinc, and also vitamin D. So these were all really important for fertility and also egg quality. Also started taking a fish oil with very high DHA. So DHA is really important for basically our baby's brains. And so started taking a very high DHA fish oil. I really like the one by Pharmax. It's a liquid. I know that can be a little bit yucky for some people, but I personally like the liquid fish oils better. Also, just they end up to be a little bit more cost effective. And then not so much about exactly egg quality, but I also making sure that I was taking a good probiotic, specifically one that has Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Lactobacillus reuteri. Again, these are more factors that will come later, but when we're thinking about group B strep and other vaginal infections that can definitely happen during pregnancy, I wanted to make sure that my vaginal flora was up to par to handle all the changes. So then some more real specifics, ubiquinol. And I was actually taking, so ubiquinol is the most bioavailable form of CoQ10 for women in their 40s. A good range is either 400 to 600 milligrams per day. It is not cheap, but it can be a big game changer, specifically if you are doing the proper dosages. I also took resveratrol, which is a very strong antioxidant that's derived from a lot of our purple foods, specifically grapes. So I added that on. And then one of my favorite products, which I have recommended actually to a lot of women in my practice for fertility, is by a company called, it's called Mito Detox. Why I liked it was it has all the big heavy hitters, N-acetylcysteine, R-alpha-lipoic acid, and acetyl L-carnitine. So really one of the big focuses with egg quality in general is really focusing on healthy mitochondria. And so was taking that. The one thing with R-alpha-lipoic acid is that you really want to take that away from food to get the most benefit. Then the other aspect, besides focusing on egg quality, focusing on ovulation prediction. So I went into pretty big detail in the last video on the importance of understanding ovulation in respect to timing of intercourse. And I also have a whole blog on natural birth control that goes into it, and as well as a video on vaginal discharge. For my personal, I decided to up the ante and not just checking for cervical mucus, but also using LH test strips. So that's luteinizing hormone, and that's the hormone that's produced prior to ovulation. Well, I mean, it's produced other parts, but I mean, it surges prior to ovulation. So to really time intercourse properly. And of course, he wasn't so on board with it, but I also put my husband, although he was my future husband at the time, also on his own regime of a high quality multi ubiquinol, acetyl L-carnitine, and also our alpha lipoic acid. So it wasn't too many things, but I did put him on a couple of things just to improve sperm quality as well. So that was my journey of how I got pregnant, and I found that it was very effective. I'm very excited for this passage in time. So if you're interested in getting started on your own fertility journey, I highly recommend that you set up an appointment with us. I'm also excited that I now have an associate, Dr. Pauline Hong, who is currently seeing patients, and because I'm slowly progressing to going on my maternity leave starting the end of April, and I'll be out until August 1st, but you will be on good hands if you do decide to schedule an appointment during that time period. And again, really glad that you were able to join us, and I'm so excited. I'm back in my West Village office in Manhattan. It's very exciting to be back here and to be with you. And again, if you want to be up to date on natural health and hormones, I highly recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, if you like this video, don't be shy, definitely like it. And I'm also happy to answer any questions you have that you write in the comments. And looking forward to seeing you next time, where I'm going to dive in a lot deeper into egg quality, because I think a lot of viewers might be confused on what exactly that even means. So hopefully you'll join us then. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.